Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Hope everybody had a great Saturday. Your Sunday's off to a good start. Beautiful Sunday, a sun-kissed morning. Saints-Texans. Saints fall. The final score, of course, not super consequential. But saw some good, some bad. Ultimately, the Saints, though, lose at the end as the Texans and Jeff Driscoll put together the game-winning scoring drive there in the final minute of the game. So the Saints fall 17-13. They were without about a dozen key starters. No Michael Thomas, no Jarvis Landry, no Alvin Kamara, no Mark Ingram, no Demario Davis, no Cam Jordan, no Tyrann Mathieu, no Marshawn Lattimore, Partridge in the Pear Tree, you all get it. So just didn't get to see many of the key players, but still, Saints defense, back-to-back 3-and-outs to start the game. The offense, the first team offense scored on its only possession with Andy Dalton, 10-play touchdown drive, converted a couple of third downs, looked really good doing it, and that was still without Michael Thomas and Jarvis. I mean, so the takeaway is, even without your starters, a lot of your key players, your starters still dominated Houston, which speaks to how talented the Saints roster is and how rough it's going to be for the Texans. So we'll get to some of the other takeaways from the game. And Kylin Jackson commits to LSU. So the safety from Zachary, a 4-star, keeps that train rolling. Like we've reiterated with a lot of these guys, to get in-state guys is just really significant. Especially when you're beating out other big-time programs for them. It's not just getting a guy from the state. It's a guy from the state that a lot of other teams wanted. So Kylin Jackson, 4-star. He's the number 167 overall player. Oh, Justin Reed got to kick a field goal in the preseason game. That's cool. He's the 10th best safety in the country. He's the 10th best player in the state. So again, one of the best players in the state at a position of need, because like we talked about, as deep as LSU is at safety right now, which is part of the reason Jordan Tolles left. Keep in mind, Jordan Tolles transferred out, and after this year, you could very well lose both Jay Ward, Major Burns. You're going to lose Joe Fouché, Greg Brooks. So a lot of the talent you brought in at that position to sort of supplement this year, you're going to lose. So that next wave of young guys is going to get their turn next year, but you're going to have to start building those numbers back up. So, all right, let's say some good mornings here. See what y'all got. You know the drill. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button. Subscribe up to the channel. If you haven't Facebook, please like the page, share the post. As always, anything y'all got, fire away. Ridge Roussel, good morning. Kelly Gross, Still Jimmy, good morning. Robert Williams, Patrick McKenzie, 3 weeks from Tiger football. Yeah, man. Tim Forshey, Tony Williams. Hey, Dad, good morning from where is this? My parents are on an Alaskan cruise. Ketchikan. I don't know where Ketchikan is, but glad to see y'all. Hope you're having a great time. Quentin Breakbill, good morning. Ryan Amanda Guidry. Let's see, Jimmy said I like number 40. Yeah, number 40 is Chase Hansen. And Chase Hansen was the defensive player of the game for the Saints. He got the start, and actually on the first play of the game, shot right through and got a TFL. He got an interception later in the game on a tip ball. We've talked a lot about linebacker and the need for the Saints to add and supplement there because you've really only got Demario Davis as far as someone that you really trust. But Chase Hansen, I thought, I mean, that's what preseason's for guys like that. He led the team in tackles. He had 2 tackles for loss, had the interception. So, yes, Chase Hansen played it. He did himself right last night, no doubt. Trivia Carter, good morning. Larry Garner, Jared Roach, Tyler Cooley, good morning. If Winston's out for any period of time, Dalton should be a competent backup. Exactly. And that was the point, right, Tyler? Why you go sign a guy like that? Guy started 150 games in his career and has played as much as Andy Dalton has. You know, I was having this conversation. We had family over last night, so I'm going to go rewatch the game. We had family over for sister-in-law's birthday, so the game was on. I was watching, but not like completely locked into every play. But we're talking about that, and the comp I gave was Jimmy Garoppolo. Like Jimmy Garoppolo has been to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game, but I would take Andy Dalton over Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo is just on a better team. Dalton got the Bengals to the playoffs consistently. Never won a playoff game. Was in a really difficult division with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and was a wild card team, and probably just didn't have the roster to compete with the best teams. Once they got into the playoffs, but Dalton is a really good quarterback, man. You give Andy Dalton, Michael Thomas, and Jarvis Landry, and Chris Olave, and Alvin Kamara. Yeah, I mean, I like it. Urban Sombrero, good morning. Hunter Fournette, Ian Book is an emotional roller coaster with mostly lows on it. Yeah, boy, the interception that he threw where he airmailed one to Juwan Johnson. I mean, Juwan Johnson's 6'5", and he airmailed it. And then the fumbled snap with he and Nick Martin. I don't think that Ian Book is going to make the team. I think he'll end up getting cut, and they hope that he clears waivers, and so that way they can re-sign him to the practice squad. But if he keeps playing like this, it's going to be hard for anyone to find him appealing. So, enough to sign to an active roster. So, no Saint. I'll get a better feel in the defense against Green Bay if Rodgers plays a series or two. No Saint. Rodgers isn't going to play, but the benefit is, so the Saints play the Packers next weekend in the preseason, but they are going to do joint practices in Green Bay. So that's going to be, I would say that's going to be more beneficial than the game itself. Let's see. Don Clue out, 504. I see people say Pete was a horrible play call last night. LOL, people overreacting to a preseason game. Yeah, I mean, if someone's saying that, Don, just disregard. So we have a 3-year sample of when Pete Carmichael called plays as the Saints' primary play caller under Sean Payton, and they were top 5 in the NFL all 3 of those seasons. So, Jesse Brown, morning, Matt. Did not get to watch the Saints game, being in South Carolina. How did the new running back Smith do? Did he have a fumble? Yeah, so we're talking about Abram Smith, and that one was a little disappointing for me. He was the leading rusher, 7 carries for 30 yards. But he did catch, let's see, he had one reception for 12. But man, the Saints were leading 13-10. It's late in the fourth quarter, maybe 3 minutes to go, and the Saints are at the Texans 5-yard line, like going in to ice the game. And Abram Smith fumbled. Like he was going to the ground, and someone came in and just punched the ball right out. He fumbled. The Texans recovered, and then the Texans ended up putting together a 90-yard touchdown drive to win the game. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that are just like unforgivable, man. You can't, when you're trying to make the team, you can't fumble at the 3-yard line when you're going in to ice a game. I mean, anyway. I mean, he looked good otherwise, but that was disappointing. D, Schnurts, good morning. Jesse Brown, also, if you have not subscribed, please do so. Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate that. Raymond, morning, Scone. Dellinger will be the starting center, true or false? True. Yeah, Garrett Dellinger is going to start. I mean, he's been taking all the first-team reps at center. Brian Kelly likes him, smart football player, getting all the calls and everything down. And provided you can handle the quarterback-center exchange, that's the first box you got to check. And so far he's done that. So, yeah, I will say true, yes. Don, how did Brian Kelly go 30-5 with Ian Book? Ian Book's not a bad quarterback. Just not every college quarterback is a great pro prospect. It's the hardest thing for a lot of people to understand. I'm not saying this from you specifically, Don, but the massive jump from college to the NFL. I mean, even consider how many guys at a place like LSU, as good as like the 2019 Tigers were, like they still would have been a 3-touchdown underdog against the worst team in the NFL. Because even that team, as good as they were, there were a lot of guys on the team that are never going to play in the NFL. In the NFL, everybody's a pro. So, I mean, it's a big learning curve, man. Like seeing TJ run hard. Yeah, Tony Jones Jr. I thought did run very hard. He's impressive. I understand. Like you got. It was a reminder again of why he made the team a year ago. But I also have in my head how much he struggled in the regular season when he got his opportunity. So, Brad David, that was precious yesterday when Drew started singing the HUD Code jingle. He's such a great kid. Thank you, Brad. Edward O, is Winston really that much better than Dalton at the moment? I know Winston's ceiling is higher. I would say so, Edward O. I mean, let's not overreact to a series in a preseason game. Starters primarily weren't playing, but you saw what you wanted from Andy Dalton, which was, hey, go lead this team right down the field in a preseason game, score. And he did. Sad when you have to cut a 4th-round pick, waste of a pick. Kuiper had him going undrafted. He was stunned when the Saints picked him. Well, to be clear, first thing, if you take a quarterback in the 4th round, you're basically taking a flyer, okay? You just don't see many starting quarterbacks in the NFL that were mid or late round picks. But you take a flyer on a guy in the 4th round if you liked, and the Saints deserve the benefit of the doubt because they drafted exceptionally well. And it's not to say Book can't develop into a guy that sticks around in the NFL and maybe he's a career backup or whatever. And remember, the only reason to be cut is because remember at quarterback, like you're just not going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the active roster. So you're going to cut him and try to sign him to the practice squad. But the only way that you don't have that opportunity is if some other team signs him to their active roster. This is what happened with Taysom Hill. He was with Green Bay. Green Bay cut him, thinking that no one would sign him, and they'd get him on the active roster. But the Saints had seen him on, in the preseason and wanted him in that Taysom Hill role, and so the Saints signed him. I don't know if there's going to be a team willing to do that with Ian Book. So he'll probably end up back in New Orleans on the practice squad. You just can't really justify a roster spot for Ian Book at this point. Kirk Taylor, good morning. Jared DeLucky, are there times you'd like to punch someone when they overreact to Saints lose a preseason game, even when they don't play most of their starters? No, I just ignore them. Chance Babin, Penning definitely looked like a rookie. Ian Book is a project at best. Yeah, Penning had good moments and bad, like you'd expect. I mean, it was one of the things that I wanted to watch in my things to watch in the game was Penning. As much as we've talked about the physicality and the attitude, which I love, he's still a rookie left tackle going from the FCS to the NFL. And there's going to be an adjustment, which is why I think it's natural you'd expect James Hurst is going to be the starter, at least to start the season. David Tolson, Tyler Choate, good morning. What'd you think about Chase Hansen? Talked about him a little bit. He was the defensive player of the game for the Saints, no doubt. And if he can continue to keep that up, provides really good depth at a position where they're very thin. Kirk Taylor, some things will never change in Louisiana. Crappy roads and the Saints not winning a preseason game. Let's see. Tony Williams losing Todd Harris as well. Yeah, that's another safety that LSU's losing. Derek Maness, Robbie White. The thing, though, is I don't know if Todd Harris is even going to play this year. I hate to say it that way. It's just his body is so broken down. I got just tremendous respect for him finishing out his career, but it doesn't seem like he's even in the mix, really. Robbie White, morning, Matt. Have you ever had Kentucky Owl confiscated? Saw it, was intrigued. Thanks, and happy Sunday. Yeah, man, happy Sunday. I have had Kentucky Owl confiscated. It's good. I like the Kentucky Owls. And look, as much as I love Kentucky Owl, their age-stated rye, the Kentucky Owl bourbon is really good. Confiscated is, I wouldn't put it at that level, but I guess I had sort of like a, considering the price point you pay for the rye and even the age-stated bourbon, I don't think confiscated is nearly as good as those, but you're probably still paying a premium because of the brand. Here's my way of saying it. If it was like a $40 whiskey, yeah, I'd pay that, but not for what they charge. Kyle DeVille, good morning. Ryan Dixon, Robbie confiscated his mediocre juice. Way for price, save your money. That's a much more blunt way of saying exactly what I just said. Yes. Yeah, man, Brian Quantrill. Austin Deculus held it down. He did. Austin Deculus played a ton last night. He wearing 76, playing right tackle for the Texans. He, of course, was their either 6th or 7th round pick for a kid from the Houston area. A guy from the Houston area. That was cool to see. Obviously, Stingley didn't play last night for the Texans, but we did get to see Deculus, which was cool. Kyle DeVille, cut book. It's probably going to happen. Deborah Coward, good morning, Matt. Disappointing loss at the last minute. Yeah. It is disappointing to lose at the last minute, especially, look, if Abram Smith doesn't fumble, you punch it in right there, you win. But again, I don't care so much about the L. I care more about the fact that Abram Smith fumbled and Ian Book had a couple of turnovers and. All right. Chance Babin, Kylin Jackson could be the next great DB at LSU. He's a hard-hitting safety. Y'all, I got to go see Crystal Poche. Oh, my God. Last week, I slept funny and had this knot like right in the center of my shoulder blade back here, and now it's radiating up through my neck and down my arm. And it's like constant anyway. Maybe I'll video that session so y'all can see what it's like. Anyway. Tony Williams, Jameis Winston's a really good quarterback. When he comes back from injury, we'll see why. Yeah. Robbie White, honestly, Elijah Craig 18 is good enough for me forever. Robbie White, Elijah Craig, 18-year, a.k.a. the Vanilla Bomb, is one of my favorites. Like, I would probably put Elijah Craig 18 in my top 5 anything all the time. Keith Wayne Duplantis, Hansen looked great. Yeah, man, he was definitely the story defensively last night. Jeremy Fontana, do you think we can grab Jordan Matthews? I know we want to have the hat on the table. Don't know. Again, if you're asking me about recruiting, I'm not the guy to know what guys are going to do, who they're going to pick, where they're leaning, who they're thinking, all that sort of stuff. Brian Arsenault, people, preseason games are like midweek college baseball. They don't count. Please make a note of that. Midweek college baseball games do count. They just don't matter. Preseason football games don't count. The stats don't count. The record doesn't count. That's the difference. Kyle, Dalton played good. Is there any concern if Jameis gets hurt? Look, I think there's always concern if your starting quarterback gets hurt, but it's why it's important to have a competent backup. And the Saints got away with that for a long time because Breeze never missed a game. But near the end, whenever you had to have Teddy Bridgewater and you had to turn to your backups, it it made sense why you need a competent backup. So when you have a guy, remember, early on, Mark Brunell was that guy. Mark Brunell had taken Jacksonville to an AFC Championship game. He was a really good quarterback, and so he was Breeze's backup. And Drew always said at that point that he wanted a veteran backup because he wanted someone who, when he came to the sideline, he could look at at the tablet, or at the time the flip chart of the pictures, who he could go over what they're seeing at, like it was another brain to pick on the sideline. And then obviously Chase Daniel took that job for a while, but yeah, I think the last 3 years have shown the Saints that you've got to have a competent backup quarterback who has been. You'd rather go with a veteran who's been a starter in the league, who, if that situation presents, can go and keep the train on the tracks for you. Y'all smash that like button on YouTube. 112 watching, only 25 likes. Let's please get those likes up. Appreciate it very much. Brad David, when the SEC goes to ABC, will the game of the week be prime time, or will it still be 2:30? So remember, they're still going to have all three slots, right? You're still going to have the 2:30 slot. It's just going to be on ABC instead of CBS. But you're going to have all three windows. It's just going to be all across all the ESPN and ABC platforms. And my guess is that 2:30 slot will still be the game of the week. But ABC does a primetime game as well, like Fox does, and but they're also competing with ESPN with ESPN. So anyway, Penning seems to have a lot of work to do. Yeah, for sure. Mike Prima, do you think LSU will have a 1,000-yard rusher this season? I do not. I think, and that may not make sense because of the lack of depth. They're probably going to ride one guy, and there should be enough, enough attempts to get one of those backs over 1,000. But concerns over the offensive line, and I think they end up divvying up the carries with Kane and Emery. Let's see what Notre Dame did last. I'm glad you brought that up. I need to go look up how many times Brian Kelly at Notre Dame has had a 1,000-yard rusher. Because last year, Kyron Williams got to 1,000, but he was at 1,002 yards. But keep in mind, that was a team that played 13 games. So 13 games, he just got there in the bowl game at 1,002 yards. Okay. Kyron Williams had 1,100 yards the year before. 2020 was COVID, so they didn't play a full schedule. All right, so 2019, Tony Jones, 857. Then Ian Book was the second leading rusher at 546. See, I could see something like that happening this year, where like John Emery might have 800 yards and Jaden Daniels might have 500 yards. Like I could see that. Look at Notre Dame's 2019. I think that I could see happening. Or like 2018. Dexter Williams had 995. Tony Jones had 392. Like I could see that with like Emery and Kane, 800 yards, 400 yards, something like that. It'll be close. Jimmy Metke, good morning. Peyton Wilson, I love the dynamic between you and T-Bob. I know you don't actually dislike him. What is the origin of the bit where you two do not get along? Who said it's a bit? Screw T-Bob. I don't know. Peyton, he and I did the pregame show, LSU football pregame, like on Eagle 98.1 game day for like 3 years. And there's like a 5-hour pregame because it was a 3-hour pregame and then a 2-hour scoreboard. So we were on air together for 5 hours. I don't know. I guess it just sort of, that's just how it wasn't intentional. It just, I think our styles are so very different. And that's just how it all came about. And it worked, and people kind of liked it. And so then last year, they were starting the network, the podcast network. So we say, let's do a podcast. People listen to it. And then, we ended up on Whiskey and Wine too. So, we've just done more and more together. None of it was like intentionally thought out. Like, hey, you be a big stupid oaf, and I'll be a smart aleck, and we'll do all this. We'll do all these shows together. Alex Barnes, Andy Dalton looked really good. Does he concern you in any way? Not really. I mean, the concern would be if your starting quarterback goes down, then you have to see him, right? I mean, that's the concern. But I think Andy Dalton is a great option as a backup quarterback. Mr. Ballin like 23. Will we see more Olave, Juice, maybe Michael Thomas in preseason game 2? I doubt it. I definitely doubt Michael Thomas. I don't know that we see him at all in the preseason. But I think the way they'll treat it is if you do see the starters, you'll see him this week against Green Bay. I doubt you see him in that third preseason game. Where are we? Matt, should we have as much confidence in Ryan Nielsen calling defensive plays as we did Allen? Yeah, yes, first of all. And I also am going to be curious how they handle that, because we still haven't to this point seen how they're handling defensive calls. So I don't know that that's necessarily given that Nielsen's going to call all the plays. We'll see what they decide to do. I mean, Dennis Allen talked about that when he was introduced. He's like, when this is your thing, it's sometimes hard to let go. So we'll see. Angel Flores, good morning. Many people have LSU at 6-6. What do you think? I have them at 8-4. I think 6-6 is way too low. Michael B, good morning, Matt. Liking the shirt. Can we see the rest of it? Yeah, man. The I Hit Bomb shirt. This is the ode to Todd Peterson from back in the day. Was it 2018? I Hit Bombs. Jared Rhodes, Cruton. Who's next on the big board? Don't know. Tommy Poole, good morning. Christian Butte. How about, I'll give you one, Jared. How about Zalance Hurd, big offensive lineman from Neville. I think he's said he's going to announce here in the next couple weeks. That'd be huge. I think he's maybe the number 6 player in the state of Louisiana, something like that. So, big offensive lineman from Neville, where Will Campbell came from last year. Be huge to get him. Christian Booty, what's up? Michael B, quarterback aside, how much do you see the offensive line improve from now to the beginning in 20 days? I know can be difficult being the starters down yet season. So you're talking about the LSU offensive line. Well, you know what? I really, really, really wish they would have a tune-up game before they had to play Florida State. But that's not the reality, so it's what it is. But I think the bigger thing is you got to pick a quarterback, because who your quarterback is going to determine so much for the line. This might sound stupid, but it's true. Every quarterback has a different cadence. Like, every quarterback sounds different. They call out the cadence differently. And as a lineman, you can anticipate your quarterback's cadence when you're familiar with it. So, I mean, that's a big part of it as well. And then if it's Jayden Daniels, as dynamic of a runner as he is, I think that takes a lot of pressure off of the offensive line. as he can elude rush, make plays with his feet, take broken plays and make them into positive plays. So, yeah, I mean, how much can they improve? Plenty in 3 weeks. I still think until you actually get on the field, play a game against someone else, it's going to be hard. Tracy Poole, Caleb, first time catching you live. How you feeling this Sunday morning? I feel great, Caleb. Appreciate you for watching live. Glad to have you here. Taz, what's up, man? Ian Book is trash. Tracy Poole, how's he rocking? Drew, they're great. Drew slept in about 9:40. E-Rock is getting ready right now. St. Jude has their open house today. St. Jude School where she works. So all the parents will be on campus today for open house. So meet the teachers and all that. So she's getting ready to get out the door to go to open house. Isn't Ian Book a rookie? That's what preseason is for. No, Caleb, he's not a rookie. He's a second-year player. He was drafted last year. Remember, he played that Monday Night Football game against the Miami Dolphins whenever the Saints were ravaged by COVID, and they were basically playing dudes that were introducing themselves in the locker room before the game. John Boudreaux, good morning. Remember the pictures in the Superdome that had the wire going down to the field like Hooters used to have? I don't know, John. Sorry, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Taz, do you think the coaching staff will let one of the wide receivers trying to make the team play with Jameis in the preseason? So I don't know if we're going to, again, Taz, I don't know if we're going to see Jameis. I don't know that you risk a quarterback who is coming off a knee injury, he now has tweaked his foot, run out there. So, no, I don't think so. But, you know, I don't know what receivers we're legitimately looking at trying to make the team. Like, your first three, you know, right? You have Michael Thomas, Jarvis, and Olave. They're in. And then beyond that, you're looking at, you're probably going to keep two more. Well, Marquez Callaway was your number one last year, and then Deontay Hardy probably makes it as well, which means Traquan Smith, bro, you're in trouble. Traquan's probably not making the team. He had a drop last night, by the way. Kirk Merritt, who I think could make a lot of other teams, probably doesn't make this team. Like that's the really tough part. When you're so deep at receiver, you have guys that are NFL players that aren't going to make this team because you're so deep at that position. So I think at receiver, there just aren't jobs to be had, man. I mean, which back, Michael B., which back do you think, which running back takes the main role? From the footage I'm seeing, John Emery still having issues with pass protection. Michael, I'm going to say it's really hard to tell that. Bro. Like, look, we've been into a few practices now. I don't know that you can say that at all. Honestly, that's based on what we get to see. And we got to see the whole practice on Thursday. There was nothing in that practice that would suggest that you could make that type of judgment about Emery and pass protection. I think Emery is the guy, but we've seen Noah Cain take a lot of first-team reps as well. I think those guys will rotate interchangeably. Like, I think it could be a situation like you saw in 2011 where you had Michael Ford and Alfred Blue and Kenny Hilliard came on late. You had a bunch, Spencer Ware. You had a bunch of guys that you used. Like, I think they're going to use all four of these guys, honestly. Unless if one just emerges as the dude, which could happen. Taz, did our second-round pick play last night? I do not believe Alontae Taylor played because he's dealing with a hip pointer. So I did not see him out there, but then again, I was not looking super actively, but I know he's coming off a hip pointer, so I do not think he played. Wilson Sylvie or Sylv? Thoughts on the Big Ten TV deal? Seems like they kicked the SEC's behind off the field. No, Wilson. So here's what you got to keep in mind. So the SEC 2 years ago negotiated its new deal, and it was the high water mark. It set the market. Now the Big Ten renegotiated their deal, and what's being reported exceeds what the SEC did. That makes sense because they added USC and UCLA. What's going to happen, though, Wilson, is the SEC, because the SEC and ESPN did their deal before Texas and OU came into the league, they are going to have a good faith renegotiation because of the added value of Texas and Oklahoma now into the TV deal. So it is very likely what you're going to see is the deal the Big Ten just got post USC UCLA. The SEC is going to up that as well. Because you're adding, you've added Texas and OU. You've added the biggest brand in Texas and OU as well. Caleb said you're about 50 comments behind. I know, so I toggle back and forth. So I go YouTube and Facebook, and I don't have one stream that just populates them all. And I do my best to get to everybody. So what I say is, if you're patient, I'll get to you. It might take me a minute, but I'm going to get to all the comments, and I'll stay here for as long as people comment. Like yesterday, we were here for like an hour and 5 minutes. Daniel Sinets, good morning. Keith Duplantis. Ian Book continues to look like he doesn't belong on an NFL field. Hard to disagree. Scotty Mack, what's good? No Little League World Series shout-outs. I'm not, look, what does he need? I'm not criticizing Little League World Series. I just don't watch it. Terrio asked. And so, I didn't just preemptively throw that out there. I just don't like the Little League World Series. I don't like to watch 12-year-olds play baseball. Hey, buddy, you want to come sit down to Dad's show? Okay. Say good morning, Dad's show.
Good morning, Dad's show.
Okay. Okay. Did you sleep so good last night?
Yes.
Yes. Hey, who came to Drew's house yesterday? Who did you see yesterday? Huh? Who did you see yesterday? Did you see Mimi yesterday? Did you see Mimi? And Popo? And JJ?
And
Olivia? I love you. Let's see. Ryan Dixon, Jimmy Tolson, Jimmy G, who's going to pick him up. If Deshaun Watson nobody's picked him up, remember, he's still on the roster with the Niners. Someone have to trade for him unless the Niners cut him. But if Deshaun Watson is suspended for the year, my guess is Cleveland will pick him up. Pick him up. Pick him up. Proud to see Danny Etling battling the state. Yeah, Danny Etling still cashing the check, man. Kirk Taylor. Okay. Can ABC Disney buy CBS's college football? No. I don't think CBS has given up their theme. Mike Benton was rooting for Brennan, not looking good for him. Mike, look, I've talked about this for weeks and weeks now. The majority of LSU fans are pulling for Miles Brennan. They want him to get sort of the storybook ending. But, I know a lot of you don't like when I've said this, but it's also, I think, why a lot of you listen to me or watch, or you know what I mean. Because I'm never going to BS you. It's very clear. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence that y'all didn't want to acknowledge, which is Brennan and Nussmeier were here. They didn't need to go get Jaden Daniels, yet they did. Nussmeier has never started a game. Brennan has started 3 times. Daniels has started 30 times. Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock both use mobile quarterbacks. That is their MO. Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier are that. Miles Brennan is not. You can't say I hadn't told you this for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, but whatever, or months. Some statistics have been devalued in the NFL and college due to more games now being played. OJ's 2,000 yards in 14 games, for example. Yeah, for sure. No, but I don't think that's devalued that chance. Obviously, you still bring it up, everyone acknowledges that. It's not the record anymore, but yes. Todd Peterson. Ryan Amanda Guidry, good morning. Gail Lindsay, good morning. As always, shout out to Brock, the Banners Orthopedic Clinic. You need an orthopedist, go to Brock. After Hours Clinic open. And, of course, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Kyle Brister, morning, Matt. Are we celebrating Ian Book? Kyle, morning, Scone, no cursing, bro. Family show. Taz, what's your level of concern for the run defense? None. I mean, the Saints' run defense has been the best in the league over the last half decade. So none, zero. I mean, Onyemata didn't play last night. You have a great, maybe the best run stuffing linebacker. I think literally none. Kyle Brister, Chase Hansen not only played his way onto the team last night. If he keeps contributing like that, he will get opportunities to be in the starting rotation. No, he won't, Kyle. You got to keep in mind, you're still talking about a preseason game. And right now, Demario Davis is your starter, and Pete Werner is right there as well. But you're going to be in a lot of nickel safety looks, man, where you're going to have Tyron and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on the field. One of those kind of acts as a linebacker. I mean, there's just no team that plays three linebackers anymore. Like, you don't put three true linebackers on the field anymore. So, no, he's not going to be a starter, but he's going to give you depth, potentially, where you need it. So, I hope he plays well. Christopher Smith, Hudco jingle. Okay, Hudco jingle. Trivia, avert your ears.
Someone you know. All you need is Hudco. Call Hudco Roofing. 364-1007.
Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. The link is pinned in the comments if you need a roof inspection, a free, no obligation roof inspection. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Spurge, what's up? Traquan is gone, yes. Traquan is gone. He should have never been back. Told y'all that the greatest indictment is when he was a free agent and only had one workout with the Atlanta Falcons, who did not sign him. That tells you all you need to know. Jesse, could you envision the Saints keeping 6 wide receivers? Only if one of those guys is a primary special teamer. For example, Courtney Roby. When Courtney Roby kept making the team, he made it as a 6 wide receiver, but really he made it because he was the gunner on punts and kickoffs, and he returned kickoffs and punts. So, or he returned kickoffs. I think Sproles was still doing punts at that point. But anyway, point is, he made the team because of his special teams contribution, but he was listed as a wide receiver. That's what would have to happen for one of these guys to make the team. Deontay Hardy would be an example of that, but he's also proven to be a valuable receiver as well. Keaton Berry, and shout out to Louisiana Gridiron Football for the video from Thursday's practice. Glad I got to see Brennan's passing. How Brennan's been passing. I saw 3 out of 4 completions, 2 good passes to Mason and Cole, bomb to Brian Thomas. Yeah, Booty had a drop. I mean, God bless you, Keaton. I mean, listen, brother, you saw 4 pass attempts with the second team. I sat there and watched the whole practice. I'm telling you, Miles can throw the ball. There's no denying that. They can all throw the football. Like, all of them have good arms and are accurate and all that sort of stuff. Like, there's a skill set they want that he doesn't have. So you can keep dropping comments in here and doing that dance, but on September the 4th, you're going to be really disappointed. Like, he's not going to be the starting quarterback. If Alvin Kamara is not going to be suspended, who gets the 3rd running back spot? I mean, after last night, you got to say Dwayne Washington, right? Michael B, are as you just said, we have limited exposure to the team. From what I have, Malik is showing out. Thoughts, inside or outside his year? Oh, keep in mind, we have not seen Jack Best yet. Shin splints or whatever, so we haven't seen Jack. And if you got Butte or Booty, as he says Booty, so I'm just retraining myself to say Keyshawn Booty. If Booty's number one, and we saw a lot of Jure and Kyron Lacey, and then Neighbors was running fourth, and that's without Jack Besh. I think, them moving Neighbors into the slot is intentional to get him on the field. Because if you do have Keyshawn and Neighbors and Jure or Neighbors on the Lacey on the outside, that's a way in a 3 wide receiver set to get Malik Neighbors on the field. So I'm for it, man. Whatever you got to do to get him on the field, I agree. Because not only does he make plays, but when he makes plays, he lets the defensive back know he just made a play. And I like that in a receiver. Urban Sombrero, Tracy Poole, Lee C. Has anything come out on Kamara? Is he looking at a suspension for the Vegas incident, or is he good to go week 1? So he's going to be good to go week 1, Lee, because the court proceedings have been delayed again to October 1st. So that's not to say the NFL won't. The NFL can punish him before the legal proceedings are done, but it's been delayed now to October 1st at least. So there was a report this week that said that any punishment would be delayed until 2023. Don't know. Again, that's not in any way confirmed by anyone in the NFL or anyone who is a credible reporter, but just keep waiting. The longer it drags out, the better for New Orleans, obviously, especially this season. Your fave 5-head. Morning, Scone from LA. All right, Matt, gotta let me know where the good eats are in Baton Rouge, heading out there with UCLA next year. Okay, hit me up next year when UCLA comes. But yeah, man, we definitely hit you up with the spots to go, especially depending on what you're looking to eat. Michael B. Urban Sombrero. Let's see, Matt, I have a coworker that will often start texting on his phone in the middle of a work conversation, so I really felt your pain when Terrio was doing that on AFR. Yeah. He's just so like we were in the middle of a segment and Terrio was like texting on his phone, and I was like, bro, come on, man. It was just distracting. He got mad at me for calling him out. I think like he legit was mad at me for calling him out. Like he just stared at me like he was pissed at me. But dude, like we're in the middle of a segment, man. You're live on air. Anyway, Taz, do you know what Jim Henderson is up to these days? I miss his radio play-by-play. He was the GOAT. He was the GOAT. I don't know what Jim's retired, man. I don't know what he's doing. Kyle Brister, let me try this again. Are we celebrating Ian Book's poor performance today? I don't think anybody's celebrating it, Kyle. I think it's just the reality. We all understand it is what it is. So you'll have Jameis, you'll have Andy Dalton, and I think Book gets cut, and they hope to sign him to the practice squad. And you have another year to hopefully groom him to where maybe he can be a competent backup at some point. What do you think is more likely, you watching a T-Bob Star Wars podcast or T-Bob watching Morning Scone? T-Bob watching Morning Scone. Roger Dodger, the Mayonnaise Kid, good morning. Thanks for coming in hot every morning. You got it, man. Thanks for being here. I'm only here because we've got 125 people watching on YouTube. We've got 38 on Facebook. So we're talking 150 people watching, 160 people watching. Heck yeah. I keep saying, as long as y'all are here, I'm here. Gail kind of knew when they got Jaden it didn't look good for Miles. Ryan Thibodeau, what's a realistic launch time for the GMEX platform? It is, so here, all right. Ryan, it is not my place to announce any kind of date or anything, and there won't, listen, whenever Gamecoin went from GME to GMEX when we switched smart contracts back in November. We gave a hard and fast date and time and missed it, and that created a lot of confusion among the community. So definitely learn that lesson. Like, there will not be anything preemptive without everything being tested, the punch list happening. I'll tell you right now, we are going through, the developers and our tech team are going through the punch list right now. It's like every day, it's all right, click every button, make sure every button does what it's supposed to do, and like all that stuff. I mean, that's where we are right now. So, I mean, when I say soon, I mean, it's closer than it's ever been. It's very, 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 very soon. I just don't want to give you a hard and fast date, because then someone will clip this and go, oh, you said this, and you know what I mean? So it doesn't specifically answer your question, but I think it does describe like just how close we are and how close we're getting. Mark Lenkla, and it looks awesome, by the way. I did mention this yesterday on the show on Friday. We had a full Gamecoin board meeting with the full board, and our CTO on Zoom like shared his screen, and he showed us the entire process on the actual platform of minting an NFT. And it was so, like, anybody is going to be able to do it in less than 5 minutes on their phone. Anybody. Like, the functionality is so easy to use. Like, any kid. Like, my 12-year-old nephew Eli wants to mint his own baseball NFT, uploads his picture to the platform, adds his name, position, jersey number, team name, and then it builds the NFT right there, and then boom. And it will be affordable for any athlete, which is the awesome part. You want to go mint an NFT on Ethereum right now? Like, gas fees alone will be obnoxious to mint like one. You know what I mean? So it's I'm excited, man. I'm very, very, very excited. David Tolson, did you see Dominic Cruz get his nose rearranged by Cheeto? I did. Man, and Cruz was winning the fight too on points, but Cheeto's such a good finisher. We were talking about UFC Fight Night last night. Cheeto's a finisher, man, and he threw that kick, and especially when they showed you the replay, you could see Cruz's nose break, and so it was like a bug splattering against a windshield. It was just like, it was, oh man. Anyway, yes, I did watch it. Good card, dude. The co-main was the fight of the year. Ryan Amanda Guidry, Terrio stared you down. You think you could take him in the parking lot? He's way quicker than me. I probably have a little more power in the legs. I would have to get, like, if I got low and got him on the ground, I could do a little ground and pound. But But if we were like in a street fight where I had to catch him, that would be the tough part, right? Like, he'd have to make a mistake and get too close to me. Because if I got my hands on him, then I think I could do some work, but that would be tough. You forget, dude's still a professional athlete. I just outweigh him by 50 pounds. Any feeling about co-defensive coordinators for the Saints? Scotty Mack, I think in the NFL, that's probably not as big a deal as it would be in college, especially because I think Dennis Allen's still going to have such a major say in the defense and how it all progresses. So, not really. All right, jump back over here to YouTube. 137 watching on YouTube. If you would take a quick second, if you're watching on mobile, YouTube, just X out of the live chat, hit the thumbs up. The video won't go away, but X out of the live chat, hit the thumbs up, hit live chat again. You'll see the comments come right back. I'd appreciate it. When do you think Brian Kelly will announce the starting quarterback? I think it will be, and also when will you interview Coach Jay on the current roster? Yeah, I can get Jay Johnson back on this week. That's easy. We're just so deep into football now. I don't know how many people are thinking baseball, but Brian Kelly had a similar situation a year ago. At Notre Dame, they brought in Jack Cohn from Wisconsin as their transfer, who won the job, and they announced it on August the 14th. So today's the 13th, right? or is today the 14th? I think when you get through the second week of camp, by then you've got to be full on, like full steam ahead, concentrating on Florida State with your starter. So whether he announces it publicly or not, whatever, but I think they've got to name their starter for Florida State after this week. Kyle Brister, you're missing my point. The Saints need a third linebacker to rotate in and give Davis and Warner a break. The plays Hansen made last night were Davis-type plays. I'm not missing your point, Kyle. And what I'm telling you is they don't play three linebackers, even in a rotation. Like, I mean, could you see a guy get 10 snaps a game? Sure, he could be that guy, if that's what you're talking about. But you said starter snaps is what you said in your previous comment. So I'm not missing your point. Maybe you need to clarify your point. And you're also reacting to the first preseason game. So, I mean, there's a reason why, and Hansen's been on the roster. There's a reason why we haven't seen him before. Hopefully he's improved and got better. He was the defensive player of the game last night, no doubt. Keaton's the world's most stubborn individual. Oh, man. Y'all are going after Keaton. I love how dudes like Keaton are arguing with Moscona about Brennan as if Moscona wasn't at practice. Any shot at Jordan Matthews? I don't know. Quentin Major or Kenyan Book take Alvin Kamara suspension because he's terrible. He was bad last night. Is the Colby Richardson and Mason Taylor hype real? So, all right. Let me take Taylor first. So Brian Kelly, after practice, said that he was asked about the tight ends, and he basically gushed over Mason Taylor. And said Mason Taylor will contribute, will be a key contributor. So we didn't see Taylor do much. Okay, what we got to see was when they went to team, they did run some two tight end sets. And this is why I said after, if you heard my full practice report, it's interesting, like, okay, get him a chew ring.
I know, but I'm saying I just FYI.
Okay. Mason Taylor. So I said it's interesting to watch practice, take notes, and then immediately walk into the team room and have Brian Kelly walk in and give his thoughts on practice, because it's like you have a perception of what you saw and what you think, and then he gets to basically tell you what was real and what wasn't. So it was interesting because we got to see these sequences where they were running with two tight end sets. And so we talked so much about how little depth they have at tight end, and yet here they are running two tight end sets. Well, Brian Kelly explained that they were doing third down periods. So that made a lot of sense, right? If you're in a third down and you're in a short yardage, you may have two tight ends on the field, and that's where we saw Stores and Cole Taylor. And those were the first two, and then the next two were Mason Taylor and 82, the walk-on, Mashburn. So it was interesting, right? Just because of what we saw, like Stores got a lot of, I was surprised to see Stores get so much run, but then it was actually, when we asked Brian Kelly, Mason Taylor is the one that's playing really well. So that was interesting. Colby Richardson is a grad transfer from McNeese. He wears number 22, and he was repping with the ones, but I want to be very clear. Like, we saw Bernard Converse, Mekhi Gardner, Sevin Banks, and Richardson all rep with the ones. Corner, safety, linebacker, they rotated so liberally when we were watching. I mean, the very first team, like full defensive unit we saw was in a pursuit drill. No offense, it was just the defense all had to run the ball. The first linebackers were Penn and Weeks. Then we saw him do the team period against the offense, and Mike Jones was the Mike. Ojulari was the Jack. and those are the only two linebackers on the field. So, and then we saw them rotate so liberally. So, as far as Colby Richardson, I don't know. Like I can't tell you. Now, Brian Kelly also called him Cody Dickerson. He's still trying to learn his team's name, but he looks good. I mean, he's a good looking athlete, and they're giving him legitimate run. It wasn't like he was just another body out there in a team period running scout. He was out there with dudes taking reps. So, yeah, I think they're trying to figure out what they have there. What they have at corner. See, can you tell us anything about Florida State? They returned their starting quarterback. They were 5-7 a year ago. But they were really close in a lot of games, which was the crazy part for Florida State. There's no way that counts, right? It's got to go over the net. Oh, no, I guess not. We will go deeper into Florida State. If you missed it, I had a Florida State beat writer on 2 weeks ago, and you can catch that interview up at the AFR LSU YouTube channel if you want a little thumbnail on Florida State. Jonathan Gardner and Scone and T, you started to say you didn't think Marcus Freeman would do very well at Notre Dame. T-Bob started T-bobbing. Can you finish that thought? Sorry, I missed it. Sure. So, and I want to be clear, okay? I think it's certainly possible that Marcus Freeman continues to win at the level Brian Kelly did, which is to say, you can win 9-10 games against the schedule that they put together, and he's inheriting a good roster, a stable program. He's not rebuilding anything. So I think all that is possible. I think sometimes from a Notre Dame perspective, fans there are assuming that Marcus Freeman is going to recruit better than Brian Kelly and he'll win a national championship. I do not think that's possible. I'll continue to say it. Until Notre Dame, as a university, changes their mindset about and their approach to building a football roster, they're never going to build a roster the way that LSU or Bama or Oklahoma or all these schools that are constantly competing, Ohio State, are built. And as far as Marcus Freeman, he is going to be learning on the job. I mean, if you watched the Fiesta Bowl, they had a big lead on Oklahoma State and they gagged it away. First of all, oh wow, the guy's chasing a rabbit. That rabbit is making that human look slow and stupid. Yeah, brother, that ain't gonna go well for you. I think, look, the way he mismanaged the clock and end game scenarios cost them that game. It left the door open for Oklahoma State to come back and win it. And so I just think you're going to have a lot of on-the-job training for a guy that's in his 30s who's never been a head coach, and typically you get that at a smaller school. Like typically you go the Billy Napier route. You go be the head coach at ULL, and you cut your teeth for 5 or 6 years, and then you get the better job. There's times where guys get their first head coaching jobs at major programs, and it works. Kirby Smart is a great example of that. He took over a great program that obviously Mark Richt was stable there for so long, and he inherited a great program and took it to the next level. Then there's also the Will Muschamps, who got his first head coaching job and bombed at Florida. And I think there's more of those at the major programs when you hire a first-time head coach that bomb than actually hit. So we'll wait and see. I guess to answer your long way to answer your question, how would you define define do very well. Will they have winning seasons and go to bowl games? Not yes. Do I think? I'll put it to you this way. When Brian Kelly's time at LSU is done and Marcus Freeman's time at Notre Dame is done, I think we will all objectively look at them both and say Brian Kelly was better at LSU than Marcus Freeman was at Notre Dame. I'll put it to you that way. Kyle Brister, Quentin Major, does Catholic High teach their quarterbacks how to take snap from under center? So he needs to try Catholic High. Oh, y'all are still making fun of Ian Book. Got it. Shane O'Mac, I don't get how Fields passed off the receiver to the outside when he was the last guy on the outside. And they were pretty much playing press man all night, not zone. Okay. It was a preseason game. And that's why a lot of those guys aren't gonna make the team. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. It scrolled way down to the end. My bad. Taz, what about the Cowboys' ex-linebacker from Notre Dame? Isn't he a free agent, Jalen Smith? We could use him. I don't know what Jalen Smith is doing, honestly. But remember when Jalen Smith got hurt in that Fiesta Bowl? That was so sad. Is he not with the Cowboys? I really don't know what he's doing right now. I mean, he was great with the Cowboys for a few years. Okay. Packers. Okay. He signed with the Packers last year, then was released, and then signed with the Giants, placed on the practice squad, activated. So with the Giants, I guess. Jalen Smith's with the Giants right now. Scott Craig, what up, Matt? Hunter Fournette, do you think Tom Brady's going to get Dennis Allen a gift for Father's Day? Well done. The touchdown Brennan threw was a sack regardless. It was still a beautiful ball. Kyle Brister, Matt, please say you weren't impressed with Washington. Tony Jones ran like Marshawn Lynch. Washington ran like he had ankle weights on. Kyle, I'll say this. So Dwayne Washington is going to make the team for special teams purposes, right? And Tony Jones was awesome last year in the preseason, and then we saw him. And I'll grant you, maybe part of me is just, my perception of Tony Jones is still impacted because he was so good in the preseason last year. They played 2 games, but particularly the Baltimore game, he was so good. He made the team, and then when Kamara was injured, and he got his opportunity, he stunk. So it's like I've seen him in a regular season NFL game, and it wasn't good. So I'm not telling you that I think Dwayne Washington is a world beater, but I know Dwayne Washington is going to make the team because of special teams. So if you're assuming Kamara, Ingram make the team, Dwayne Washington will make the team for special teams. Is he also your third running back, or do you have room for another? I'm cool with Tony Jones. I'm kind of pulling for Abram Smith as well, who looked good. I hated to see the fumble late. But I'm telling you, I don't think any of those guys are primary backs. Like if Ingram or Kamara isn't available, you're going to find another running back. It's not going to be one of those guys that you lean on. Shannon Mack, good morning. Biggest pleasant surprise last night was Chase Hansen all over the field. He was the best defensive player for the Saints last night. Apollo Balboa, 1985. Matt, how's the back? Give us your final record for the Saints and Tigers. Have a great week. Back is good. I've been doing yoga for like the last 3 weeks every day, and it has helped tremendously. I slept funny about 10 days ago, and I have this like stabbing pain in my left shoulder blade that's now going up through my neck and radiating down my left arm. So I've got to go see Crystal Poche. Like, I literally woke up this morning. I was laying in bed. I grabbed my phone and looked up her schedule to see if she had any availability tomorrow. And of course, she does at 3 o'clock when I'm on air. So, anyway, but other than that, great. My record for the Saints and Tigers, I've kind of landed on 10-7 for New Orleans. I think they're a wild card team, but I think they do get in the playoffs at 10-7. And LSU, I have it 8-4. Let's see. Lindsey Garcia, is this finally time we release Trayvon? Yeah, Lindsey, I think that's safe to say. Dennis Allen has a very calm Willie Green type demeanor on the sideline. Shane O'Mac, it was also a preseason game. Yes, you're right. I'm not discrediting that. I think you're right. I think that's a good comp. I think it was also a preseason game. So, but yes. The book needs to close an E, but y'all are brutal on Ian Book today. I'm not saying it's unjustified. It's just y'all have been brutal today. Let's see. Justin Evans made a nice play. He did. Where are we? Garrett Hoyt, your prediction for LSU 8-4. What 4 games do you see them losing? I might be crazy. The only game I think we lose is Bama and A&M. So Garrett, for whatever it's worth, FPI came out with their whole percentage thing last week and had LSU an underdog in 3. So it was Bama, A&M, and Auburn. Actually, they gave LSU a 46% chance of beating A&M and a 42% chance of beating Auburn, which is interesting. I think you have to start 4-0. This is where I think I pretty much landed. You got to start 4-0, which means you got to beat Florida State, you got to beat Mississippi State at home, which I think they'll do. So they'll start 4-0. I think they will. Then your next 4, you're on the road against Auburn and Florida. You're home against Tennessee and Ole Miss. I think you go 2-2 in those 4 games. If you can go 3-1, I think you set up for a potentially very good season, excellent season even. Because in the next 4, I think you lose to Bama, but you beat UAB, and then you have road games against Arkansas and A&M. So I'm assuming that you lose to Bama, beat UAB, and you split the Arkansas and A&M games. So that's how I think they land on 8-4. Tim Gotro, good morning. Shane O'Mac, guy named Fields doesn't read the field well, not good. Caleb, Caleb said Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss are top 25 teams in my opinion. Well, Mississippi State is not. He said Auburn and Florida don't worry me as much, but both of those games are on the road, which is the part that too many of y'all are just discrediting. It is never easy ever to go on the road to Auburn or Florida and win. It's never easy ever. So can they go win one or both? Sure, but look at 2018. You need the Cole Tracy miracle, walk off. And remember, that was only set up because you got the benefit of 2 personal foul penalties to give you 30 yards in field position to allow you the opportunity to kick that field goal. And then you went to Florida and Burrow threw a pick 6 at the end and threw a couple of interceptions. And that wasn't a great Florida team. So it's not easy, man. It's not easy to go on the road and win in the SEC, especially at those places. So I'm not sitting here telling you take a Sharpie and put an L next to them. I'm just telling you, you can't just discredit those teams because you got to go there and win. I mean, flip it around. Look at Florida last year or A&M last year coming to Baton Rouge and taking an L against a 500 LSU football team. Why? It ain't easy to come to Baton Rouge and win ever. A&M was a team that beat Bama and had a lot going for it, and they came to Baton Rouge and got smacked. It's hard. It's hard to win on the road. Last year, you got completely obliterated at Kentucky and at Ole Miss. It's hard to win on the road. You can't just discredit that, man. Michael B., obviously our wide receiver room is the best we have with the defensive line room. Obviously, most times you want those guys out there the most, but in the past, we have Brian Kelly have 2-back sets sometimes. Do we see that? Thoughts? I don't know that you're going to see 2-back sets, Michael. And Notre Dame didn't run 2-back sets last year. Michael Mayer was best tight end in football. And Kyron Williams was their running back, who not only is a good back, but they also throw him the ball a ton. So I actually kind of disagree with you there. What's the recruiting report look like for our video hype team? Best edits ever. Caleb, thanks. I've watched zero Notre Dame or Cincinnati beside a little of that playoff game since he got blown out. Yep. I mean, look, Desmond Ridder was their quarterback last year. Mobile guy. Like, that's the consistent theme with Denbrock, with Kelly, is the mobile quarterback. And it's not necessarily you need Mike Vick back there, but you need someone that can extend plays, that can move the pocket. I'll tell you, when we got to watch them on Thursday, basically every throwing drill we saw was throwing on the run. It was all throwing, rolling to the right, throwing, rolling to the left, faking a handoff, bootleg throw. It was, I mean, it's just, that's pretty apparent. Like, and especially if you're not confident in your offensive line, right, then you got to have, then what do? You move the pocket, right? You move the pocket. You need a quarterback that can make plays with his feet or throw accurately on the run. So that's what they're working on right now. Migo Tez, do you think starting quarterback gets announced this week? Migo Tez, I don't want to I'll tell you this. Hey, let me look up the schedule. Hang on. Let me look up the practice schedule. Hang on. Because I know they have another practice where they where the media gets to watch the full practice. Hang on 1 second. 1 second, y'all. 1 second. 1 second. Here you go. Okay. So we get to go see him tomorrow, I know. Tomorrow is Monday the 15th. Okay, so we get to watch them at 10:30 for 30 minutes. Tuesday's player interviews, Wednesday. Okay, here you go. This would be my guess, okay? Wednesday at 10:30, they're set to scrimmage in Tiger Stadium, and the media gets to watch the whole thing. My guess is after that scrimmage on Wednesday is when they'll name a starter. Like, I'm not saying they'll name it in the post game, but I think after Wednesday is probably when they'll have an idea and name it. So that's my guess. If you want to hold my feet to the fire and make me guess, that's what I would say. And then on Saturday the 20th, they practice in Tiger Stadium again. Media gets to watch 30 minutes. And then Tuesday the 23rd, they scrimmage in Tiger Stadium. And it's open to the media for the entire practice. That's at 4:25. Well, dang, I'm not going to get to watch that. See, I would guess by then, you're less than 2 weeks out from the game. I think by then you've got to have your guy. So we'll see. So I would say, if not by Wednesday, a week from yesterday, Saturday, they scrimmage in Tiger Stadium or they practice in Tiger Stadium, and the media gets 30 minutes of it, then meets with Brian Kelly. So maybe next Saturday. I would say it'd be after Wednesday's scrimmage, and maybe by Saturday. I would think you're 2 weeks out from the opener. We'll meet Brian Kelly then. That would make sense. That's when he might announce it. We'll see. Chance Babin, Brian Kelly's policy on kids playing a second sport. Remember, Samardzija wasn't, not Samardzija, Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet was his tight end who also pitched for the baseball team. So he's had guys do that. Patrick Cason, good morning. Chance Babin. I love how Brian Kelly uses the media to get messages to players. Doesn't say crazy things like the 2020 defense is better than the 20. Yeah. How about that? when Ed Ogeron said, this defense is so much better than we were at any point a year ago. Wow. Whew. Brian Sarah Thomas, he's going to be Tyron Willingham 2.0. No, but you got to remember, Brian, Ty Willingham had already been a head coach. Ty Willingham had been a head coach at Stanford and was successful. He inherited a not great situation in South Bend, and they only gave him 3 years. Like, anyway. Ryan Thibodeau, thanks for the update on GameCoin. You got it, man. If y'all have questions, ask. I'm always happy to answer what I can to the degree I can. So if y'all ever have GameCoin questions, ask. I know a lot of people have bought GameCoin and are curious, what's going on. But what I'll tell you is, like, it's like working under the hood of a car, like building the engine. You may not see the progress, but like there's so much work being done. Samuel Merrifield, Matt, and by the way, there are crypto projects that take years for platforms to launch. And they got to go get investors and all different types of stuff, and you do fundraising rounds. And the reason this has gone actually at relative to other crypto projects at warp speed. And the reason is because David Mailer has bankrolled the entire thing. Like, David has spent his own capital to fund this. There's been no fundraising. Like, it is his money that he's put up to build out the platform. Like, he is the one that is leveraged and invested and committed to it. So got a lot of respect for that dude, man. He is all in on this. Matt, do you think the Braves catch the Mets? I think the Yanks win the World Series. Yeah, so before the season, Samuel, I actually picked the Blue Jays to win the division, but the Yankees to win the World Series. The Blue Jays have been bad. The Yankees have made me look good, although they've struggled of late. I think they had lost 8-9 before they won yesterday. Can the Braves catch the Mets? Can they? Yes. Will they? No. But I do think a Subway Series would be pretty fascinating to watch if we could see it. So, all right, y'all. I think we're just about done. Any more? Ultimate Warrior. Good morning. Kyle Brister. Okay, Matt, back to Hanson. You said it was preseason. The fact it was preseason and you have one guy bringing the wood like that is definitely going to impress Allen. Yeah, Kyle, I'm not saying that Chase Hansen won't make the team. Like, he was the best defensive player last night. Nobody's arguing that. You said, back to your first comment, that he would be taking starter reps. Like, that's what you said. And I said, no, he won't. Like, they're not going to start Chase Hansen at linebacker unless if they're decimated by injury, which let's hope doesn't happen. Is he going to make the team? Will he be a special teams guy? Could he play 10 defensive snaps a game? Sure, that'd be great. They need depth at linebacker, but that's all he is. OBJ ain't coming here. He got it made in LA. Why would he want to leave the Rams? Well, the Rams have to offer him a contract first. And I don't think Odell Beckham would come to New Orleans. They're way too deep at receiver already. Ultimate Warrior, Penning ain't ready to start at left tackle. I agree. It was hot and cold last night. But, again, dude's going from FCS to the NFL. So, massive step up. Okay, remember, Teron Armstead, when they drafted him out of Pine Bluff, didn't take over the starting job until late in his rookie season. So, that time may come for Penning this year, but game one, probably not. I think that's fair to say. Migo Tez, thanks for the question. I was also interested in the practice schedule. Yo. Kevin Williams, I'm late, but I'm here. Well, welcome, Kevin Williams. Glad to have you. All right, I think we're just about done. Zach Snyder, heard LSU fans buying Florida State ticket allotment, which is why they sold out. Yeah, I heard that too. I don't know if it's true. I've asked some Florida State people about it, and they said they wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Yeah, I think it will end up a more significant LSU crowd than 50-50 or 60-40. Game coin merchandise available. Let me check on that, Ryan. It's supposed to be. I mean, I've seen all the designs, but I honestly don't know. Andy Dalton rocking the red beard is a good look. All right, y'all. I think we're done. We've been going for like an hour and a half. Yeah, it's an hour and 25 minutes. All right. 133 still watching. Appreciate y'all so much. Smash that like button on YouTube. If you are new and you've not done so yet, please subscribe up to the YouTube channel. Just hit the red subscribe button so you'll be, and hit the bell. You'll be notified when we go live, which is every morning. So, by the way, Drew's back in school tomorrow full time. So, morning Scone, heretofore, will be like our normal during school schedule where I will be live right at about 7:30 until 8 o'clock when it's hard out. I got to go because I got to get him up and get out the door. So, starting tomorrow on weekdays, we'll be back to a more consistent time there, barring something unforeseen. So, all right, y'all have an awesome, awesome Sunday. Thanks so much for watching. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing. You need an orthopedist, good Brock. Need a roof, Hudco. Got Hudco pinned in the comments there. So do us a solid. You know, if you need a roof. If you need a roof, holler at Hudco. HudcoRoofing.com, HudcoRoofing.com. Fill out the contact form, or you can email me directly, Matt@HudcoRoofing.com, or you can text me. 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Kevin, I need a Hudco hat. Kevin, we just ordered 1,000 Hudco hats. This week, we put in an order for 1,000 Hudco hats because we were like out. So we will be getting hats, and would love for everybody to rock a Hudco hat. HudcoRoofing.com. Let us come do a free no obligation roofing inspection. Tap the link. The contact form is right there on the homepage. You'll see it. All right, y'all have an awesome day. Peace.